I've been around dogs for 2 decades now, and there are 7 breeds that turn up again and again in the same scene. A family on the sofa, a dog they love, and the sentence, "We had no idea what we were getting into." Not bad owners, good people who picked a dog off a photo, or off a film, or off the one their neighbor had, and never asked the only question that actually matters. What was this animal built to do all day? Because whatever the answer is, it's still in there, and it will come out in your living room whether you've got a use for it or not. 7 breeds, and number 1 is the one people are buying faster than any other right now, for exactly the reasons it'll wreck an unprepared household. That's the one I'm finishing on. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood dog guy. Now, destroy your life is a strong way to put it, and I mean it in a specific way. There is not a bad dog on this list. Every one of them is spectacular in the right hands. The trouble is that the right hands is a much smaller group of people than the number who buy these dogs. And when the fit is wrong, it doesn't go a bit wrong. It takes over your house, your schedule, your relationships, and sometimes your safety. So this isn't a hate list. It's the honest version of the conversation the breeder should have had with you. So today, 7 breeds, why each one dismantles an ordinary home, and the correct way to think about it before you commit. And number 1 goes last. Quick note before we carry on. This is one chapter of a much bigger conversation about what your dog is trying to tell you, and I've gathered all of it into a book called The Happy Dog Manual, over at leodogsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your dog. That's all. Let's start at number 7, the Dalmatian. And I know, you're picturing the film, the fire station, the spots, a family dog. That image has done more damage to this breed than anything else, because the Dalmatian was never a lap dog. It was bred as a carriage dog, trotting for miles alongside horses all day long, guarding the coach and the horses as it went. So what you've actually got is an athlete with serious stamina and a real guarding streak, wrapped in a coat that sells itself as a children's cartoon. The mismatch between what people expect and what they get is enormous. They're high energy to the point that an under-exercised one becomes destructive and neurotic, and they can be genuinely aloof and sharp with strangers if they aren't socialized hard and early. The correct way. Match the exercise to the carriage dog, not the cartoon. This is a running, hiking, working companion, not a dog who's happy with a wander around the block. And socialize deliberately from day 1, because that guarding instinct hardens with age. There's also a real deafness rate in the breed, so a responsible breeder who tests for it matters more here than most people realize. Number 6, the Weimaraner, the gray ghost. Stunning dog, and increasingly an Instagram dog, which is exactly the problem. People buy the photograph and get the temperament. This is a hunting breed built to work closely with a person all day in the field, and that history produced a dog with 2 traits that catch people out. The first is relentless energy and drive. The second, and this is the one nobody warns you about, is that the Weimaraner forms an intense, almost obsessive attachment to its people, which sounds lovely until you understand what it becomes when you leave the house. This is one of the most separation anxiety-prone breeds there is. Left alone and understimulated, a Weimaraner doesn't sulk, it panics. Howling, destruction, self-injury, escape attempts through windows. The correct way. Be honest about how much your dog will be alone, because this is not a breed you leave for a full working day and come home to. Build independence deliberately from the very start, rather than smothering the puppy. Give it a real job for its brain and its body. And understand that the Velcro attachment is the breed as designed, not a compliment to how much it loves you, but a need you're on the hook to manage for the next decade. Number 5, the Chow Chow. It looks like a teddy bear, and it is the furthest thing from one, and that gap is where the trouble lives. This is one of the most ancient and most independent breeds on Earth, bred as a guardian, and it behaves less like a typical dog and more like a cat that has strong opinions about you. Chows are aloof, they're intensely loyal to 1 or 2 people, they're deeply suspicious of everyone else, and they do not crave your approval the way most breeds do, which means the standard training playbook, the one built on a dog wanting to please you, largely doesn't apply. Add a powerful guarding instinct and a low tolerance for being messed about, and you've got a dog that can become a serious liability in a busy household with children and visitors. The correct way. Socialize from the very first week and never stop. because that suspicion of strangers hardens into something dangerous if it's left alone. Respect the independence rather than fighting it. A chow that's allowed to walk away is a chow that doesn't have to escalate. And understand that deep-set eyes give it poor peripheral vision, so it genuinely doesn't see a hand or a child coming from the side, which is exactly how bites happen. This is not a first dog, and it's not a dog for a chaotic family home. Number 4, the Akita. Another ancient guardian, this one out of Japan, bred to hunt large game and to protect the home independently, making its own decisions without waiting for a handler's cue. And that's the whole issue in one line. The Akita decides. It is powerful, it is dignified, it is fiercely loyal to its family, and it is profoundly stubborn. The mistake people make is falling for a calm, easy puppyhood and assuming that's the dog they've got. Then adolescence arrives, the guardian instinct switches on, and there's a 100+ pound animal in the house deciding for itself who's allowed in and who isn't. Akitas are also frequently intolerant of other dogs, particularly same-sex, and people find that out at the worst possible moment. The correct way. Deliberate, structured socialization from day one, not a few puppy classes, an ongoing program through the whole first 2 years. Lead it firmly, but never with force, because force with an Akita buys you a fight you will not win. Manage the dog-to-dog intolerance honestly, rather than hoping it grows out of it. And if this is your first big dog, choose something else. That's not gatekeeping, it's arithmetic about what happens when a beginner meets a dog that outweighs their experience. Number 3, and this one surprises people because of its size, the Jack Russell Terrier. Small dog, enormous problem. And the problem is that people buy the body and forget the engine. This is a hunting terrier bred to chase prey down into burrows and dig like its life depends on it, packed with more drive and energy per pound than almost anything else on this list. It does not know it's small. A bored Jack Russell doesn't mope. It digs up your garden, tunnels under your fence, escapes, chases everything that moves, and barks until your neighbors file a complaint. And the prey drive is real, and it is not negotiable, which makes it a genuine hazard around cats, rabbits, and small pets. The correct way. Stop treating a small dog like it needs small exercise. This dog needs a job and a serious amount of physical and mental work, the same as a breed 3 times its size. Channel the drive rather than suppressing it. Flirt poles, digging boxes it's allowed to destroy, terrier sports, scent games. Take the fencing seriously because they go under, not over. And never test the prey drive around small animals when you can simply manage it instead. Number 2, the Cane Corso. This is a Roman war dog, bred as a guardian and used in the arena, and everything about the way it fails in a normal home flows from that heritage. It is enormous, it is extraordinarily strong, and it is intensely territorial. Here's the specific trap with a Corso, and it's a cruel one. The good puppies are the dangerous ones. A confident, stable, easy Corso puppy gets less socialization than a nervous one because there's nothing obviously to fix. And then somewhere between 14 and 24 months, the guardian instinct comes fully online. And now you've got a 130-pound animal making its own assessments about every visitor, with no history of being taught what a normal visitor even is. On top of that, the breed's popularity has flooded the market with people breeding for size over temperament, which makes a stable one harder to find and a poorly bred one a genuine danger. The correct way. Socialize the easy puppy harder than you'd socialize a difficult one, and keep going right through adolescence rather than stopping at 6 months when everything seems fine. Teach it, deliberately, that when someone arrives, its job is to go to a place and stand down, so it has an alternative to deciding for itself. Build handling and control at 40 pounds, not at 130, and put the breeder decision above everything, because with this dog, temperament over size is the best money you will ever spend. Which brings me to number 1, and the reason I made you wait. The Belgian Malinois. The dog everyone is suddenly buying, off the back of every Special Forces video on the internet, and the one I most wish people would think twice about, because the gap between what they think they're getting and what actually walks through the door is wider than with any other breed alive. Here's what those videos don't show you. A young Malinois is a buck-wild animal. People call them Maligators, and they earn it, because they are relentlessly mouthy in a way that is a daily problem in a house with children. They are the Energizer Bunny with no off switch, a dog that needs to genuinely work all day, every day. Not a walk, not a garden, work. And here's the part that catches people out completely. Most people buy one wanting a ready-made protection dog, and the Malinois out of the box is a friendly, social attention seeker who wants to be petted by everyone it meets. Turning that into a controlled protection dog takes years of specialist work, not a temperament you can buy. So what people actually get is the highest drive dog on this list, in an ordinary home with nothing to do. And all that engine goes straight into the furniture, the walls, and the family's sanity. The correct way. Count the hours you genuinely have, not the ones you plan to have, the real ones this month with your real job. And if it isn't several hours of structured work a day, this is not your dog, and good intentions will not close the gap. Getting a Malinois is like buying a Formula One car and using it for the school run. Everyone wants to be Lewis Hamilton, but you can at least park the car in the garage and walk away. You cannot do that with this animal. Every single day it will demand something from you, and if you can't provide it, it will take your life apart trying to find its own outlet. So take this one thing out of all 7. Not one of these dogs is broken, and not one of these owners set out to fail. They fell in love with a look, or a film, or a highlight reel, and never asked what the animal was built to do. And the job showed up anyway, in a house with no work for it, and took over. So before you choose any dog, go and find out what it was originally bred for, and then be brutally honest about whether your real life can supply that. And whatever you end up with, get the training early and get it properly. Because the difference between a dog that destroys your life and a dog that becomes the best part of it is almost never love, it's knowledge. And the fact that you're watching a video about which dogs to be careful of before you get one already puts you ahead of most people who walk into this. So tell me in the comments which of these you've got or which one you were considering and what surprised you about yours. Because that's exactly what the people still deciding need to hear. I read every one and they decide what I make next. Now go and look up what your dog was bred to do.